Hello, boys and girls. How are you doing today? I hope this finds you well and ready for our next art lesson. Today what we're going to do is we're going to learn about our second element of art. And the second element of art is called shape. Can you say that? Shape. You know shapes, right? Circles, squares, triangles, rectangles. Well, what we're going to do today is you are going to be able to name and draw circles, triangles, squares, and rectangles. And we're going to start out today by taking a pretest. I have sent home a form that says shape pretest. And I would like your mom or your dad or your grown-up that you live with to read the directions for the shape test and have you use a pencil to draw the shapes that they ask you to draw. Do your best. I don't want any help from a parent because this is just a measure to see how you do before we do our shape lesson, and we'll take the test again after our lesson to see if you learned and improved with some art help from me. So take your pretest, and then when you're ready, I want you to get out your markers or crayons or pencils. I prefer markers, and we will work on our shape worksheet together today. Our next step today is to take this big, gigantic blank paper with the lines on it and have your markers ready. And what you're going to do is you're going to start out by printing your name at the top of your paper. Okay. Now, we're going to start out with the simplest shape of all. Do you know what this is called? Right. You said it. It's a circle. What I want you to know is that the best circles are the circles that are round. They start at the top and they go all the way around and they stop at the top and they don't have a tail that hangs over. All right, let me show you what I'd like you to do today. First, I want you to watch me make my circles. Here's how you make circles. You start at the top and you're going to go around and try to keep it nice and round, and you're going to close it at the top. Then you're going to take a new color and you're going to make me another circle. Start at the top, go around, and close it. Now, whoopsie, do you see what I did? That's called a tail. We don't want to have a tail hanging over our circle. Try another circle. You go around, and if you close it and you forget to close it and you don't close it, that is not a circle. That's a line because it hasn't closed. So you have to be careful to make sure it closes. And what I want you to do is practice nice round circles. Now this one, I'm going to show you what is not a circle. Whoops. That one's too skinny. What's that called? That's right. If you said an oval, you're right. If you make a mistake on your paper, please don't put a big X on there. If you put an X on here, it tells people, look, I made a mistake. What I want you to do is instead of putting an X on it, just practice and make the next one better. And that's what we're going to do today is use your markers to fill this first box up with nice round circles. Make sure you're sitting up straight. Make sure when you have your marker in one hand, your other hand is holding your paper down. We call this your helper hand. Don't forget to use your helper hand. And try not to let these circles touch. And what I want you to do is continue making circles until the whole box is filled. Start out with some big ones, then move to middle-sized ones, make some little ones, and see how well you can make your circles, remembering to stop at the top when you finish. All right, then when you're all done, I'm gonna fit a few more little ones in here. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to study your circles, and I would like you to find your very best one. Remember, it's round, it doesn't have a tail, and it starts and ends at the top of your circle. When you find your best circle, I think this one's my best. I want you to go ahead and draw me a smiley face inside, okay? Good job. All right, next shape. we're going to move on to the next shape I like to make, and that's this one. Do you know what this is called? If you said rectangle, you're right. I can turn it this way, and guess what? It's still a rectangle. What's special about a rectangle is it has 2 long sides and 2 short sides. If I measure the long sides, they say 6.5 inches, 6.5 inches. If I go this way, it's 3 inches, and this way, it's also 3 inches. So 2 long sides and 2 short sides. To draw a rectangle, what I like to do is I like to start out with this number. Does anybody know what this number is? If you say 11, you're exactly right. What you do is after you make your 11, you close the top and you close the bottom. What I'd like you to do is be careful not to be in a rush. I'm going to show you sometimes what happens when kids rush. They have these hangover tails here that don't really make that a rectangle anymore. If you do that by accident, don't put a big X on there. Leave it alone and try to do better on the next one. I'd like you to start out with your bigger rectangles, and then we'll move to middle-sized and then smaller ones. What I want you to do is try making one laying down like this, like a railroad track, and then closing it like that. And what I want you to do is use your different colors of your markers to practice making your rectangles. All right, go ahead, and you can stop the video at any time you need to just stop and work, and you can continue when you're ready. Remember, if you make one that's not real good, like I just did, try to be careful and do the next one. Remember to hold your paper down with your helper hand. It makes a huge difference. Maybe I can do a really little one. Now, what you want to be careful of is you don't want to put them too far apart. Watch what happens. If I put my 11 too far apart and I close it up, do you know what's going to happen? This one is going to make a square, and I don't want to make a square. You need to make sure your lines are 2 long lines and put them kind of close together, and 2 short lines. All right. You finish your rectangles, and when you're all done, whoopsie, I kind of did that one wrong. That's okay, I'll do better on my next one. When you're all done, I want you to study your rectangles and looking for the ones that have 2 lines that are the same size, nice and straight, 2 on top, and put a smiley face inside. Good job. All right, you might need to take a break and come back to the rest of this later, but if you want to keep going, you can keep going. The next shape is this shape. Do you know what this shape is called? If you said triangle, you're right. A triangle has 3 sides, 3 points, and can be like the letter A. I call this my A triangle because it looks like the letter A. I call this my V triangle. It's a triangle upside down. And I call this my L. Do you see the letter L here? It's my L triangle. So let me show you how you can make 3 different triangles. Watch this. The first triangle is the letter A. You start at the top, you pull down, nice straight sides, close the bottom. That's my A triangle. This is my V triangle. First you make the letter V. Do you see how you need to have nice straight lines when you draw? That's why we practiced our lines before we did our shapes. And you close the top. And the last kind is the letter L triangles. Watch this. You make an uppercase L with your straight lines, and you're going to go from here to here as straight as you can. And that's called the L triangle. I named that the L triangle. So what I want you to do is practice a few A triangles first. Careful not to have a tail like this. You don't want tails. If you do, just be careful and slow down so the next one doesn't have a tail. Practice some more V triangles, and then go ahead and practice some L. Can I show you where the trouble lies for children? What kids do is they have a hard time going from here to here. What they do is they go out like this, and they don't get a straight line. That's not a triangle. What you want to do is I tell the kids, make an L, and then before you draw the last line, I like to just pretend. And I like to look at it and do it in the air a few times. And then when I think I've got it, then I go ahead and I draw it in. So fill that box with all kinds of triangles, practicing different kinds of triangles. And you know what I'm going to tell you? When you're all done, pick your favorite one and put a smiley face in it. I'm going to pick this one. All right. And we only have one more box to do. I saved this box till the end because this one is the most difficult. Do you know what this is called? If you said a square, you're absolutely right. What do you know about a square? If you said a square has 4 sides, you're right. But the secret to making a square is they all need to be the same size. When I measure these sides with a ruler, this side says 3 inches. This side says 3 inches, this side says 3 inches, and this side says 3 inches. Now, I'm not going to have you use a ruler because you're a little bit young for that. If you have a parent who wants to teach you, you can have a parent teach you. But I think that's more of a first grade skill. But what we're going to do to make a triangle, watch me, is you're going to start out and you're going to make an L. Okay? Now, what you say to yourself is you say, if I finish this square and go up and over, is that going to make a square? What do you think? The answer is no. If I draw up and over, that's going to make a rectangle. So what I need to do is I need to make this line a little bit longer. So I look here and I try to measure so this line is about the same. And I'm going to check it. And when I think they're about the same, I'm going to draw straight up and over, and there's my square. Now, squares are really tough because you're not going to be using any measure stick. You're going to just have to rely on your eyes and your brain to help you through this. Watch again. There's my L. If I finish it, will that make a square? No. I'm going to show you what will happen if I finish it too early. It's a rectangle. Now, to make a square, I want to pull down and make my L. You know that's not long enough. I'm going to make this longer. And now I think they're about the same. I'm going to measure with my fingers. I'm going to go like this, lock them. That's pretty good. And I'm going to try to finish that square. Pretty good, Mrs. Bauman. All right, to make a little square, you make a little L. Make it longer. When you think it's about the right size, go ahead and finish it. Not too bad. And the more you do this, the better you're going to get. Watch this. This is a skinny marker, a thin marker. Tell me when to stop. Go, go, go. Stop. Okay. Up and over. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to practice making squares in the very last box. Not too bad. Watch this one. Longer. Uh-oh, I made that one too long. That's going to be a rectangle again. Watch what I can do, though. I can go over here and make this line longer. Now I think they're about the same. I'll have to go in this square, I guess, and finish it. All right, L, a little bit longer, up and over. All right, I want you to keep drawing squares. If you have little areas, put some little ones in there. And when you're all done, I want you to pick your best square and draw a smiley face inside. And there you go. All right, so there you have it. That was our lesson on naming and drawing circles, rectangles, triangles, and squares. And just so you know, if these are difficult for you, this is a great thing that you can practice because once we start doing our drawings, we're going to be using all kinds of shapes in our drawings. And the better you draw your shapes, the better your drawings will be. So have fun, practice lots, and join me next time when we make a new picture. See you later. Bye-bye.